Capricorn, happy July 2017. I hope everybody is doing fantastic. This is Dark Dove Tarot. As you know, I always pre-shuffle, but I'm going to add some more energy to the cards before we get started. Again, I've changed up my reads as I said last month. I'm going to be focusing on singles and anybody looking to resonate to reconcile, because those tend to be the people who reach out to me for private reads, questions, emails. So I think that's mainly who any of my watchers consist of. If you're not happy about that, let me know. So far, and there's my cat. She may be in the corner of the screen. So far, I haven't had too many complaints. Again, I move pretty fast because I have a lot to say and a lot I want to get out. And I don't want to take up too much of your time doing that. This is general about love and relations. Hopefully it resonates with the majority of you. If it does not, check your sun, moon, and rising, as some months those are going to resonate with you or give you more clarification on what's going on for you that month. Again, this is for Capricorn, July 2017. Any likes, subscribes, comments are always appreciated. Oh, and there's my cat. I apologize for that. She is chasing something. Any private reads, donation information, it's all in the description below. So again, I appreciate everybody tuning in. Let's get started. All right, so we always start with your current position or current state of mind coming into the month. And you have the King of Wands, which is very good. This is confident. This is about being bold, showing some leadership. This tells me if you're single that you're just kind of taking some chances. You're out there. You're not, it's not that you're not expecting anything. You're just not over expecting anything. You're just saying, you know what? I'm going to try to meet new people. I'm going to date people maybe that I normally wouldn't, because maybe, you know, it hasn't been working for you. Tabby, get down. Maybe it hasn't. Sorry about that. Maybe it hasn't been working for you, you know, and you thought for sure it would, because you're used to dating the same type of people. And this tells me that you're being a little more daring in your selection, and you're kind of realizing that changing it up a little bit, or maybe dating people you normally wouldn't, might be working for you. Or maybe you're just going out on a limb saying, you know, maybe you've always been, you know, super responsible with your money and very responsible with having a career, and you've never kind of had interest in somebody who's a little more free-flowing, you know, maybe works a few different jobs, isn't really looking for a career, more enjoys what they're doing. Not that you can't enjoy your career, that's not what I'm saying, but I think you understand. Just somebody who might be a little more, you know, fly by the seat of their pants type mentality, and you're always used to finding somebody who would suit your lifestyle instead of branching out. And I just get the feeling, Capricorn, you're branching out. This is about leadership, again, about inspiration. So I think some of you are coming into July just feeling like it's there for the taking. If you want to date, you can date. If you want to meet somebody extraordinary, you're going to meet somebody extraordinary. And I think you kind of feel that and know it. It almost seems like for the past few months you haven't really believed in that, or if you have, you've had certain things, you know, throw doubt your way, or curveballs, or maybe you've met people and you thought that would be a great fit, and then it was just like what's going on? You were blindsided by something, or you weren't reading the red flags completely. For anybody looking to reconcile, this card stands for ethics. So this tells me that if you are interested in reconciling, and if you are in communication, whether you are or aren't, if you do get into communication, you're going to kind of have your wits about you. It may be more of a, hey, how's it going? Hey, how are you? And I feel like some of you are going to want to just rattle off and be like, what happened? And I can't believe this happened. And we did this and this didn't work out. And you're going to kind of have to hold that in and wait and see what they have to say. So if they contact you, just listen, take it all in. Don't be judgmental. And if you decide to contact them, you know, this could be the boldness of the king coming out, that you've just kind of decided, I don't care. They could say no. They could turn me down. They could be nasty, but I'm going to take a chance because I'm feeling that if I don't take a chance now, it's now or never. And, you know, either they take it or they don't. But this is kind of like, I feel like for some of you, this is your breaking point. Either you're going to take a chance and they're going to be right there with you, or you're not going to take a chance, you're going to move on, or you're going to take the chance and they're not there with you and you'll just kind of have your answer. The next card you have is always feelings or challenges, often internal, and these help or hinder your current position of the month. And you have the Ace of Swords. So the Ace of Swords is actually a really good card as well, because this fits very well with the King. It's interesting. My reads so far this month have kind of ebbed and flowed very well. So let's see if yours does as well, Capricorn. It's obviously still the beginning, but the Ace talks about clarity and logic and power. So again, this powerful King coming in with ethics and boldness and inspiration. And now you have the power of the Ace of Swords, where you're just kind of like, I have the power now. And I think that suits us really well, because internally you're kind of like, I can do this. Whatever the dating world throws at me, whether you're online dating, whether you're meetup groups, however you're dating, you're kind of like, I've got this. I have the power to take it or leave it. So you have the ability to kind of control the dating, and not control it like manipulating, but control as in, if one sector is not working out for you, maybe the online dating's not working out for you, you don't have to do it. And you can choose to do meetup groups or speed dating, if that's even still a thing anymore. I'm not sure. Or, you know, if you don't like somebody, you don't have to go on a date. I feel like some of you have kind of felt pressured. It's all of a sudden just coming in that some of you are almost feeling pressured to go out with people that you normally like wouldn't want to. And not what I was saying about this, trying out, you know, people who are different from you, and, you know, maybe dating people you normally wouldn't. This is more people that you know are not a good fit for you, like you just know it in your heart, and you almost felt guilty, like bad, like, well, I should give them a chance, and it, now you're kind of like, no, if I am not interested in dating you, I won't. That's not to say you're not going to give new people a chance, or you're not going to branch out and maybe date somebody you wouldn't, but there stands the red flags, right? So they're not going to have the red flags that you would get from somebody you really legitimately know in your heart is not going to be good for you. And I feel like this month you're coming in saying, okay, I have to cut the crap, I'm going to cut out the bullshit. And it's like all of a sudden, you know, the clouds are gone, the sky is clear, and it's coming across as logic. Like you're feeling like very logical about everything. So for singles, that's very good, because I think you're going to meet somebody a little quicker, or somebody that you genuinely want to date and maybe pursue something with, if you have that clarity. For anybody looking to reconcile, this is the same thing in the fact of logic, clarity, and, you know, having that presence and that power and that patience. This is, you can either make the decision to contact your ex if that's what you're looking to do, if you're not in contact with them now. Some of you may already have that communication, but for the ones that don't, this is kind of like the power's in your hand. If you want to make that communication, do it. But I feel like you can see now where some of the triumphs and tribulations have been in your relationship, and you're ready to have a discussion, because there is still a connection for some of you. There is still that love there. It hasn't gone away. And I feel like you know that it hasn't gone away for some of your partners too. But now you see things clearly. Now you're saying, okay, this is where we messed up. This is what I can work on, because remember, it's a two-way street. It can't just be blaming the other person. This is what I can work on to be diligent if we decide to get back together. And this is what I'd like you to work on. And if you approach it that way, instead of you guys pointing fingers, then there's a possibility that, you know, some of you could reconcile that situation. The next card you have is always going to be past relationships, and this is distant past. So this is over the past few years. This isn't usually within the past few months. Now, I've been explaining to every sign, and I did last month too, the reason I bring it up, and I can't speak for other readers, but I think some might agree on this. The reason the past position exists in a lot of reads, and like I said for mine specifically, sometimes you have a good card or a bad card here. And there's really no bad cards. It depends on what position it falls in. And some cards are not necessarily bad. They're just not as happy or joyful. I mean, life is about ups and downs and good and bad, right? So there's going to be cards that maybe you're not as excited about, right? And other cards that you are. So this position is about, the reason it comes up every month, or the reason that I deal with it every month, is because it often holds a place for maybe feelings or anything that has any troubles or anything that you've been through or anything good that you've been through that may be coming up this month that you're reflecting on, or that maybe, if you're not seeing how something's affecting your relationship, it could be that past card, you're going to go, well, okay, that past card makes sense because I did go through this situation, and now I can see how if I don't change a behavior, or if I don't realize, to kind of let that lay, or if it's good to, hold on to that, then, you could repeat those patterns, basically. So, for instance, the Four of Cups represents taking for granted, self-absorption. This is about, apathy. So, the Four of Cups, and this could be 50-50, y'all, though I get the feeling a lot of you are feeling taken advantage of. At some point in your life, you had a relationship with somebody who took advantage of you. And we're not talking about, like a little advantage of you. Somebody, obviously, for some reason I needed to say somebody because that popped out. But for some of you, this was, somebody knew that they didn't love you as much as they were claiming, and they built it up inside you because maybe they moved in with you, maybe they used your car, maybe you helped them financially, and you feel used and abused, or you were at that point. And maybe part of the reason you're coming in here very, with very leading qualities and very, having the control you do, is that you're focused and ready, and you know what to look out for to keep yourself from ending up in that situation. It's almost like some of you are going, I knew that he or she was totally taking advantage of me, and I did nothing about it, and I should have seen the flags from the beginning, and I didn't. And now you're like ready. You're like, even if it was 10 years for some of you that this relationship took place, you're starting to maybe see a pattern in your dating life, and that's where you're deciding to change the way that you're going to date, or the way that you're viewing things. This, for both singles and anybody looking to reconcile, is the same usually in the past position, because this usually applies for, everybody in that sign, that at some point you dealt with somebody who was so self-absorbed, only cared about themselves, and couldn't see you that was right in front of their face. Now, again, this could be reversed, and this could be talking of some of you Capricorns treating others like that. But I generally, in the past, get this as a feeling you got from somebody, or something you experienced in a relationship. And I truly feel that this is some of you who are kind of going, God, that was a waste of time. I spent so many years giving them love and affection and my heart, all the while to find out, that they just weren't in it as much as I thought they were, or as much as I was. So just be careful with that, because that would also warn me that, yes, you're feeling great and you're feeling positive, and you have that inspiration and the boldness and the adventure, and you're daring and you're controlling the situation, but don't ever assume that that everybody's going to be the same. And I think that's why you're kind of weeding people out, but just make sure you're not overlooking like a diamond in the rough, right? Okay. The next card you have is always your recent past. So the past few weeks or the past month or two, and you have the moon. All right, so the moon is very interesting because the moon has different phases, and each phase, is kind of like what you may be going through as singles. You may be going through a good phase where you feel like you can see everything clearly, and then you go through a phase where you kind of feel like the wool's pulled over your eyes, because the moon represents dreaming, illusion, and fear. So that tells me that some of you, for the past month or two, were very worried you were going to bump into this. Or maybe you were seeing a lot of, when you were looking for potential partners, you've been seeing a lot of the crap and the bullshit. You've been seeing the games played. You've been seeing, it's almost like something or someone, maybe a few people that you've met, have drummed up your past with a person that you were not comfortable with and didn't feel good with. And the moon has left you a little wary to where you're coming into July just very present and bold and daring, because the moon is great. It's about dreaming and knowing what you want and wanting to go get it, but it's also about fear of not seeing it. So it's almost like maybe tonight the moon is not illuminated very much. Maybe it's, in the beginning phase where it's a small sliver, and so you're not sure if that person, if you're seeing them clearly or you're not. So I feel like the past month or two you've been kind of like, I really need to see what I'm looking at. I really need to kind of figure out what I want and what I will accept and what I won't accept. And you just kind of feel like you don't want this. You don't want to be taken advantage of again. You don't want an illusion built up for you. You want it raw. You want it genuine. You want it real. And the moon means the past, month or two, you've been kind of going, I'm not really sure if I can figure out who's BSing me or not, who's throwing red flags at me. And now you're coming into July going, wait a minute. I know who this person was. I saw the red flags right from the beginning. So I'm good. I don't need to be worried about anything. I can now dream. I'm now going to take the moon and turn it from fear to dreaming and know that I have the ability to make what I want come to fruition. And I know what to look out for so that I'm never in that position of being taken for granted and not treated fairly. For anybody looking to reconcile, this fits nicely for you as well, because the moon also says that you're kind of like maybe even hesitant to reach out to your partner, or maybe them reaching out to you, but you've been hesitant to really consider getting back together because you don't also want to be fooled. You don't want the illusion that everything's going to be peaches and cream. You know that there's some things you need to talk about. You see the clarity here and you know it, and you don't want to harp on it, and you want to solidify things as best as you can and as nicely and peacefully as you can, if that's a possibility for you. But the moon tells me the past month or two, again, maybe you haven't been in contact, maybe you have, maybe they've been contacting you or you them, and it's been kind of slight, communication, nothing too bold, and now you're kind of like, all right, we need to have the talk, we need to have a serious talk, and you're hoping for it, you're dreaming that something amazing could come from it if you want your ex back, but you're also saying, look, I'm not going to fall, prey to any dreaminess that doesn't exist. And, if we're going to do this, we're going to get it all out in the open, and we're going to be clear on everything. The next card you have is in time. So over the next few months, this is distant future, and you have strength. And strength is a great future possibility card because this is patience. Strength represents patience, period. So I'm going to start with anybody looking to reconcile. That's exactly what you need to have. That tells me that Capricorn, if you are looking to reconcile, and if you've been in contact, or if July hits and you're going to have contact with this person, you need to be patient. It's like I said here, the king is very ethical and wants to be all about moral standards and whatnot, but nobody's perfect, so don't point any fingers. Use a closed fist. And I don't mean use a closed fist like hit anybody or anything like that. I mean, don't point the finger, and believe in yourself. And it's interesting because you have a lot of control cards here. This is a control card. This is kind of control, and strength represents patience, control, and self-belief. So for anybody looking to reconcile, this is a good thing, but it also heeds the warning. You can only control so much, right? The universe has a way of working itself out. So don't try and control everything, because if you do, you may not end up as satisfied as you want to. And if it's something you want, and maybe if you and your partner are teetering, believe in yourself and have the strength. If it's not what you need, it's not what you want, and it's not going to work out, you have to believe in yourself that you will find something eventually and move on if it's not healthy for you. If it is what you want and it's taking a long time, have the patience and believe in yourself that if it's meant to be, if you have that strong of a connection, it will work out. For everybody who's single, it's very much about self-belief. I feel like I said in the beginning, I think Capricorns have had their fair share of ups and downs dating since the beginning of the year. And for a while there, I think some of you were just hesitant and going, I just don't even know if I should date right now. Maybe I should take some time off. And this is telling me that over the next few months, you're going to have strength. And because of that strength and that self-belief, you're going to find people who are going to match with you very well, that are going to make you feel secure, because it's like you've had self-belief and you know you're a good person to date and you know that you can be, a good partner, but at some point it was damaged, and at some point it almost felt like you didn't want to put that effort into it because you didn't want anybody to walk all over you again. The next card you have is going to be your immediate future, so throughout July. And you have the Three of Coins. So the Three of Coins is accomplishment, satisfaction. So that tells me that you are going to meet some suitors with some major potential. Do I think you're going to find the one by the end of the month? No. I think this is going to be about accomplishing the task of weeding out anybody who doesn't work for you and really finding out what works for you in the dating world. I mean, that's what it really comes down to, is what's going to make you happy and what's going to make your partner happy. And you have, coming into July, you're going to take it seriously, but you're going to be bold and daring. Like I said, you're going to take some chances maybe you normally wouldn't. And the Three says that you're going to feel satisfied with that. You're going to feel like you are meeting people. The Three of Coins is about teamwork. So I think that you're going to give a little and somebody you meet is going to give a little, and then you're going to give a little and they will. And it's going to be kind of a slow process. And it may mean that you're going to meet one or two people. I get the feeling, and maybe it's three, because hey, you've got three here. Maybe you'll have three suitors that really have potential and you'll just have fun with it. But I get the sense that some of you, it's not going to be long. It may be, and the three keeps jumping out to me, so maybe it's 3 months. I think 3 weeks is a little optimistic, because I feel like some of you coming into July either haven't met that person or maybe just met them, and I get hesitancy a little bit from Capricorn, so I don't know that 3 weeks would be realistic, but maybe 3 months. And I think that even though you could meet a few, I think some of you very easily might meet one or two and narrow it down to one pretty quick. Again, I think 3 weeks might be very quick, but 3 months to meet somebody and actually say, hey, let's have our, kind of dating relationship be a little more, not commitment, but, not dating other people. 3 months seems like that would be a more, comfortable timeline for you to actually make some sort of dating commitment where you're not seeing other people, but you're not like moving in together. For anybody looking to reconcile, this is about teamwork completely. So this tells me that if you work as a team and you decide to have the talk and you decide that you really want to figure out what happened and what was going on, you're going to accomplish what you want, whether it's staying together or just having the talk and deciding you're not good for each other. You're going to feel satisfied in the end. So throughout July, it's very positive. For people looking to reconcile, I get kind of 50-50. Sometimes on signs I can read the cards and I get kind of, yes, this is going to work, or no, it's pointing more towards no. And this is more like you feel like you need some answers and you've got some clarity and you've got some ideas on your end, and now you need to communicate with your ex and say, this is what I'm seeing. What do you see? And until you do that, there's not going to be more of a, the scale's not going to tip either way until you find out exactly what's in their head. And it seems like for some of you that might be what you're working on. The next card you have is going to be your future external factors. So anything that could be tangibly affecting, anything externally for you throughout July. And you have the Two of Wands. So this tells me that a lot of you are planning and making goals. So your read has been very fluent, which is interesting because a lot of signs this month have been pretty congruent and melded together very, very well, whereas some months it's kind of all over the place. But this tells me that for the two, that you have goals, you have set things in mind. So this goes along with this as well, because this tells me that you're just saying, okay, this is what I want, and I know what I want, and I'm out to find what I want. And so externally, things that are going to come to fruition for you are achieving those goals. Again, meeting one or two people and seeing that whatever you're doing different in the dating world, or however you're choosing to approach it now, is going to work for you. You're also looking forward, which again tells me that you're going to meet somebody, and then you're going to have this strength and patience and inner belief to make the necessary steps to move in the direction. So the Two of Wands, for anybody who's single, is telling me this is like you're going to meet somebody and then you're making plans and looking forward. So it may actually happen a little quicker than you think it will. For anybody looking to reconcile, this is definitely planning and looking forward. So if things go well during your talk and you have the conversation and you're thinking that reconciling would be a good decision for you, you're going to be looking forward to it. You're going to be making plans to get back together, to, if you separated and one of you moved out, you'll be moving back in together. If you decide not to reconcile, then this also tells me that you have a bunch of plans. You're going to bring them to the forefront. But this card, the 2, actually swayed me a little more to the potential of you reconciling is pretty good. Again, I think if you have that talk. If you don't clear the air, I don't think you're going to get anywhere. The next card you have is internal factors, so anything that you're going to feel throughout July. And you have the 4 of coins. So this tells me that some of you may be worried about money because this card is about poverty. Now, again, this is internal and this is external. So this is anything you're worried about. So some of you, especially if you're, if you're looking to reconcile, this tells me that some of you may be, worried too that, hey, if we don't figure this out, we've got a house and now you're renting an apartment. Or, we have kids and we need to figure this out too because we're paying for 2 sets of clothes or 2 whatever. But this definitely tells me some of you are worried about watching the money. It could be also because summer is here, and for both singles and anybody looking to reconcile, maybe you're taking vacations and so you're saving money to get to that point. This is also about possessiveness. So if you are looking to reconcile and you guys do get back together, you talk about it, I think you need to watch the possessive behavior. I don't know why I said that. I think you need to, make sure that you don't jump right back into your mind or we're together or changing Facebook statuses or doing X, Y, and Z. Because I think, again, this patience card is screaming. You've just got to take your time with it, and you're going to be excited and you're going to have these emotions running wild and you're going to feel that connection again, and you're going to want to jump for joy, but I think you're going to have to take it a little easy and just relax with it. For anybody who is single, this is definitely, the same thing too, because this tells me if you do meet somebody amazing, don't push it too hard. Don't become possessive or anything like that. Although Capricorns generally aren't super possessive, it could just be that that you've got a good thing, and you're being this also tells me too that you might be a little frugal with your heart. You might be a little weary to let go because, again, you don't want to be taken advantage of. So don't be a miser. Don't be, enjoy what you find, but don't, I just absolutely had this thought that spun into my head, and then I saw a picture of a person sitting there saying, well, I've been hurt in the past, and it's almost telling me don't sit here and repeat it. Don't talk about it. Don't be skeptical of somebody new coming in because of this, or don't give them the whole rundown on why you might feel insecure, because you don't want them to think that there's absolutely no chance because you're so worried or not completely comfortable dating at the moment, or not sure that you want to let your heartstrings, show through. The last 2 cards you have are always your hopes and fears for the month. And you have death and your outcome. And you have the 9 of Cups. And the 9 of Cups is one of my favorite cards. So I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but the hopes and fears, again, this is internal, and death is actually a really good card. A lot of people fear it. This is about transformation, rebirth, and change. So I think you are going to come in feeling like this, feeling very confident, and at the end of the month you're going to experience change because you're going to meet somebody amazing. You're going to accomplish what you want, which is find somebody that's going to suit you well and weed out the BS like I talked about. So death is all about changing the way that you're dating, and that in turn is going to enhance your possibilities of meeting somebody incredible. For anybody looking to reconcile, this is about rebirth. The death card is always about rebirth, change, transformation. So I think if you are looking to reconcile and it does go positive and you do have the talks, that there's going to be a rebirth of your relationship. And I think this month for Capricorn, a lot of things are going to happen for you quickly. I just get this sense of urgency. Even now, reading the cards, I feel like I want to move fast. But you're going to have to hold out for this patience card. The 9 of Cups is amazing for both, for singles and anybody looking to reconcile. If you're single, this means this is bliss, this is fulfillment, this is pleasure. So you're going to meet somebody who's going to make you feel amazing. You're going to want to rush into it, but like I said, don't get too headstrong about it. Don't, scare them off. But with this change, this tells me that you're leaving all this crap behind and you're changing the way you look at dating because of this person you're going to meet, or maybe the experiences you're going to have this month, and then the person or two people that you meet are going to change the way you look at what's potentially out there for you, and then you're going to end up feeling this at the end of the month, which is just pure bliss. You're going to find somebody, maybe again, it could be one or two people, but I get the feeling you're going to narrow it down pretty quick, and you're going to feel, like on cloud nine. And for anybody who's looking to reconcile, I kind of feel like that too. Like if this rebirth takes place, this 9 is going to feel so satisfactory to you. You're going to feel, it's almost like this person that you've been away from, you felt like a piece of you is missing, like a little piece of you. And I know that's kind of cliche, but really that's what's coming to play here. And when you reconcile and when you get to a good place with this person, if that's what you're looking for, and if that's what comes to fruition, again, that's not going to happen for everybody, but if that's what you want, you put the time in and you guys have adult, conversations, again, without fighting, pointing fingers, playing the blame game, you will reach the ultimate pleasure of being with that source of connection, of love that makes you feel like you again. And I think some of you know exactly what I'm talking about with that, because sometimes we meet people and without them we feel less whole, and with them we feel 100 times better. And if you're single and you're listening, you're gonna have that. You're gonna experience that same with this new person as well. All right, Capricorn, hope you have a fantastic month. I will look forward to talking to you in August. Take care.